Hey everyone, this is Christopher Luxon, the former CEO of Air New Zealand.
This is John Lee Dumas, the founder and host of Entrepreneurs on Fire.
This is Tracy Ibarra. I'm in Executive Solutions at Dell Technologies.
This is Travis Chappell, founder of Build Your Network. If you are wanting to learn how to embrace change,
To navigate through disruption as a leader,
Then listen to the Leadership is Changing podcast.
The Leadership is Changing podcast.
the Leadership is Changing podcast with my good friend,
my very good friend, Denis Giannoutsos.
Welcome to Leadership is Changing. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change. This is taking your leadership to another level by finding the balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsos.
Hey, welcome to the show. Leadership is Changing. What we as leaders know to be true is that change is constant. Leaders everywhere confront similar obstacles because people are people, but everywhere you go, leaders are overwhelmed, disrupted, and under pressure. They run from email to email, meeting to meeting. Many leaders are not changing quick enough, which means they run the risk of becoming irrelevant and being left behind. The purpose of the show is taking our listeners' leadership to another level by finding their balance between executive excellence and personal well-being through stories that inspire real change. I believe we don't have enough effective leaders in the world today, and if we get the leaders to step up and lead change, then they can inspire real change. Hey listeners, it's now time to adapt in our fast-moving world, and I want to welcome you to the Ask Denis freestyle episode that happens once a week, and great to have you here with me today. Hey, if you haven't checked out the Facebook group Leadership is Changing, or if you're on LinkedIn, the LinkedIn page Leadership is Changing, I highly recommend you go and do that. Check them out. Feel free to join the group or the page, and I'd love to see you contribute in that group as well. Well, welcome to the Ask Denis episode, which I said before is a freestyle episode. This is where I'm asked a question by our listeners, or I share my thoughts, my insights, and experiences with working with many leaders from around the globe. So let's get into this week's topic. This week's topic is why mindset matters for success. And it's a question that's asked by a lot of people. Why does it matter? Why do I have to have a certain mindset for success? And you see, this is what makes leaders, entrepreneurs, people who are very good in their field, the way they succeed is by having the right mindset. Now, note the word I just used there, the right mindset. It's a mindset that's a growth mindset, not a mindset that is a diminishing type of mindset. What's the difference? Growth mindset, more of a multiplier out there, wanting people to grow, giving them opportunities, seeing things in a bigger vision, versus a diminisher, holding people back, always finding problems, and so forth. So, how does this mindset have a role to play in this? Well, as I said before, working with high-performing teams, individuals, leaders, entrepreneurs, there seems to be some common areas that they all have that relate to a mindset of success. And I'm going to go through these 7 areas with you today at a very high level and just share them with you, because if you can put these in place, just imagine where you're going to be in 12 months from now. Now, when I say put it in place, that doesn't mean that you poke it with a stick, is the way I say it. In other words, give it a try and see what happens. That word try should not be in the vocab of a leader. A leader doesn't try, a leader does. And there's a difference. And so today I'm going to talk to you about these 7 areas, but for you to do it and keep going at these 7 items, which are very, very important for you. Number 1, they're very clear on their why or their purpose, right? Very clear. They understand why they're doing certain things. They understand what their purpose is in life and in business. Because you see, when it gets very hard, and at times you will have curveballs thrown at you, there will be times it will be very hard, and for some people, they just want to quit. But if you refer back to your why, your purpose, that's the thing that's going to get you out there to do what you need to do on a regular basis. The second thing is that you'll notice that people who understand what their why is, they have this energy, they have this skip in their step, which is fantastic. They know where they are going. And so they see what their why is, they understand what it is, and they will focus on it 100% to make sure it happens and start to put things in place which is wonderful to see. So number one, be very clear on your why or purpose. Same thing, right? Why/purpose. Number two, understand that perfection is not going to happen. Whoa, that's an interesting one. People who have a mindset and understand that mindset matters for success are successful because they understand that they are never going to be perfect. It's never going to be the right time to start it. It never is. So what they do is they just start. They just take action and they get underway because action will actually help. But is it perfect? No. Is it right? Maybe, but maybe not. So what do? They start, they take action, and they then adjust once they're underway. See, once you're underway, then you can adjust. If you are not underway, don't even take any action, there's nothing to adjust. And so for a lot of people, they'll use things as an excuse that things aren't right or this is not perfect and so forth. I've been there. I've done that as well. So have you probably, right? We've all been there. But the thing here to learn is that you learn from it the fact that if you just take a step, if you just go and put things in place, things will start to happen for you. The number of times I've set a goal and the number of times I think, I don't know how I'm going to get this done. Then I take a step, a second step, a third step, and things start to fall in place. I'm not saying that you can take 3 steps and things will fall in place. It might need to take 10 steps for you. The important thing here is take action and get moving forward. That's the real key there. So number 2, understand that perfection is not going to happen. Number 3, they are results focused. They have a huge amount of drive to get results. They are disciplined on doing things that others probably won't do. And so they are disciplined in doing that. They are focused. They make things happen. They have clear goals. And what they understand by that is that they may not know how to get the goals put in place, but they have a clear goal, what the goal is. They're very clear. Then they'll start looking at what they need to do and put in place for that to happen. So number 3, they are results focused. Number 4 is an interesting one. They can change impossible to possible. In other words, for a lot of people, they will look for reasons why not to do it. They will find the thing that's wrong with it or things that are wrong with it. They will run away from areas, right? So they actually don't want to do it because it's impossible. But what these people do is that they look for possibilities that the others can't see. They don't take no for an answer. I've seen many times where if you take the investment in property and people doing properties and doing them up, the number of times I've been in a property and others going, oh, it's got lots of weeds and it needs some painting and it needs this done, where you can actually see the potential. Because you see, if you can get the garden done, if you can put a new fence up front, maybe it's already got a fence, but just needs a good paint. If the house needs painting, a lot of that stuff is what I call cosmetic. And if you can do that stuff in the cosmetic and see the vision for that house as an example, then others probably won't buy it. But the number of times I've seen others who will actually do that, buy it, do it up, in the sense of that cosmetic stuff, revalue and get a better price with better value for their house, or they will sell it. That's where then they can see how they can take the impossible to possible. The number of times people have said to other people, this will never happen, and they've gone ahead and done it. Like, you'll never fly to the moon. Well, JF Kennedy says we're going to go to the moon. Look what happened. Man went to the moon. And it was a big, giant leap, right, for mankind that day. Small step, but a giant leap. The other thing here is that's number 4, which is changing impossible to possible. Number 5 is they can see that change brings opportunities. That's right. When there is change, well, that's the constant thing that we know is in life, right, is change. For a lot of people, they don't like change. For others, they do like change, and others, they thrive on change. But with change comes opportunities. Now, the opportunity may not come in the package in the way that you think might come along. It may come differently to you. I work with many executives who are leaving their roles. They're wanting to do 2 things. One is they actually leave their role because they've been made redundant, so they're off to go and do something else. Or number 2 is that they want to go and do something themselves off their own back. In other words, They may want to go and get a bigger job, a different role, bigger organization possibly. The other area is that they may want to go out and start their own business. They might want to go and buy one. They might want to go and start one, or they might want to go out consulting. But what I notice is this, is that sometimes they can see what the opportunity is on the table. And so I get them to start thinking about what they can do and what they can put in place. In other words, I get them to start painting a blank canvas, start thinking about where they want to go. Because you see, most people want to go and do certain things in life. A lot of them are working roles that they're not happy in. The thing here for you is, what do you want to do next in your career, in your business? Where do you want to go next? What's your next step? And the thing here is that with change brings opportunities. For those in particular who get made redundant, they think for some of them that their whole world is in trouble because they now don't have an income coming in. What happens if they think about what they could go off to do and have a whole lot of fun in doing the same thing at the same time? So they can have fun thinking about the new role, go out and do it, network with people, put it in place, and that'll be great. The problem here is that it's easier to say than it is easy to do. And for me, it's easy to say. But you know what? I've been in that position before, and I know others that I help every single day to go down that track and start thinking about it. It takes courage for them to think about it as well. But with change brings opportunities. Now, the thing here is that number 6 is that they understand the importance of consistency. I've talked about this in other episodes as well, but the important thing here is being consistent. Yes, you need to have processes and systems in place, and if you don't, you need to put those in place, because most successful people have processes and systems in place. They might even have what I call habits, right, or rituals, or things that they do on an ongoing basis. And they need to make sure that they're doing these things consistently and doing the right things. For a lot of people, they can be easily swayed. For a lot of people, they may start to do something and they have certain habits, processes, and systems in place, but then the next shiny thing comes along and they get distracted and they move on to the next thing. What I'm going to highly recommend that you do is that you understand what your habits are, what the things are that you need to do every single day, processes and systems to help you do that, and stay consistent with them. The thing here is the start, stop doesn't help because you lose momentum. I've seen lockdowns happen when countries have gone into what I call a yo-yo kind of scenario, in lockdown, out lockdown, in lockdown, out lockdown. A lot of momentum in business has been lost. And so the same thing here. If you start going to the gym and you go 1 week, take 2 days off, 3 days off, then don't go for another week, and then take another week and do another week, and then don't do things, well, then that inconsistency is not going to actually help. You're not going to get the momentum happening. So for habits to be formed, for things to be put in place, you need to be doing things on a consistent basis. So number 6 is the importance of consistency. Number 7 is the confidence of the value that they bring. That's right. So they have a level of confidence. Now, I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm talking about confidence, right? They have this presence in front of people, this executive presence. They understand the value they bring to the table. It's almost like they can bring this value to the table and they know what they're bringing to the table and they do it in confidence. It's almost like there's a currency or a way that they can create money or create an opportunity, create business opportunities. So that's a great way for people to look at it. So the confidence of the value they bring. That also becomes very attractive in the sense that when you see some of that strong confidence, strong executive presence, and the value they can bring, and that they understand that is very attractive. And in fact, it's going to actually attract other entrepreneurs, other leaders, other talent to get around you as that person in that area. So team, today, we just talked about why mindset matters for success. It's helping you set up things that will actually help you be successful as a leader and entrepreneur. There's 7 areas that we covered. They're very clear on their why. Number 2, they understand perfection is never going to happen. Number 3, they are results focused. Number 4, they change the impossible to possible. Number 5, they see change brings opportunities. Number 6, the importance of consistency. And number 7, they have a confidence of the value that they bring to the table. 7 things. What I'm going to encourage you to do is to step back and think about those 7 things. Do you have those 7 things in place today? If you do, great. Where would you rate it out of 1 out of 10? 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. Don't choose a 5 because 5 is sitting in the middle of the fence. But where would you rate yourself today? And then in 3 months' time, 6 months' time, where would you want that to be? How will you move the needle forward? And so let's see what you can do. Because you see, it's going to take work for you to do these 7 things. It's going to take you work and consistency and discipline and focus and so forth for you to put these things in place. If you need help, team, to be able to put these things in place, always feel free to reach out to me. I'm more than happy to help you. So feel free to reach out to me. What I'm going to say here is this. It's what you do with these 7 things that's really important. Because you can put these 7 things up on your wall. You could put these 7 things in front of you at any time. But it's what you do with it that really counts. It's the same thing in anything in life. It's not about what it is. It's about what you do with it. That's what counts. It's like getting feedback, or it's like doing a debrief or a review. That's all great. But what are you going to do with it going forward is what counts. Hey, listeners, I want to thank you for joining me on today's session. If you haven't joined the Facebook group or the LinkedIn page, Leadership is Changing, feel free to look out to those 2 different platforms and join those different groups because we'd love to see you there as well. What we as leaders know to be true is that change is constant. Change is incredibly scary, especially with the unknown and the unfamiliar territory. It's time to adapt in our fast-moving world when leadership is changing. Hey, look out for the episodes as they've been released. Download them. Have a listen. Put a review, a rating. Share them with your friends, your family, your network. If there's any feedback you'd like to give me on this show, or any questions you might have for my guests as I interview them, or if you have a question for me on the Ask Denis Freestyle episode, feel free to reach out to me anytime. Hey, it's always a pleasure to bring you these freestyle episodes. Thanks for tuning in today. And as always, we look forward to catching up with you again soon. Until next time, bye for now.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Leadership is Changing with your host, Denis Giannoutsas. Each week, we and our guests provide information and insights through exploring leading change, inspiring executives and leaders to adapt and lead a bigger game in a fast-moving world.